1. The hidden dangers of ultra-processed foods, how even small amounts increase chronic disease risk. 2. No safe level of processed meat, shocking new health risks revealed. 3. No safe amount, processed meats shocking health risks revealed, new study. 1. The hidden dangers of ultra-processed foods, how even small amounts increase chronic disease risk. What if the foods you think are convenient are quietly sabotaging your long-term health? New research from the University of Washington's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation drops a bombshell. Even small amounts of ultra-processed foods could be raising your risk for serious chronic diseases. This isn't just about overindulgence. It's about the hidden dangers in everyday items like hot dogs, soda, and packaged snacks. But here's where it gets controversial. Are these findings a call to eliminate all processed foods, or is moderation still possible? Let's break it down. The study zeroes in on three major offenders: processed meats, sugar-sweetened beverages, SSBs, and trans fatty acids, TFAs. These aren't just bad for you in large quantities. They start causing measurable harm even when consumed in moderation. For example, eating just one hot dog daily, about 50 grams, could increase your risk of type 2 diabetes by 30%. Sipping a single sugary drink daily raises diabetes risk by 20%. And consuming a mere 1% of your daily calories from trans fats, about a tablespoon of partially hydrogenated oil, could boost heart disease risk by 11%. How do these foods work their mischief? Processed meats, often preserved with smoking or chemical additives, contain harmful compounds like N-nitroso agents and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, substances directly linked to tumor growth. SSBs flood your system with empty calories, spiking blood sugar and insulin levels, which over time can lead to diabetes and heart disease. Trans fats, created by hardening liquid oils into solids, trigger inflammation and clog arteries. The kicker? These risks don't just stack up at high doses. The study shows the steepest increases in disease risk occur at low habitual intake, basically, what most people consider normal consumption. The research team, led by Dean Hiley and published in Nature Medicine, used a method called burden of proof metaregression to analyze data from millions of participants across 18 to 19 studies. For type 2 diabetes alone, they tracked 1.1 million people and 64,000 cases. The results? A continuous rise in risk with every gram consumed. At 50 grams of processed meat per day, roughly a quarter of a hot dog, diabetes risk jumps 30%. For colorectal cancer, the same amount raises risk by 26%. And for heart disease, it's a 15% increase. But wait, this is the part most people miss. These aren't just averages. The study found that even tiny changes in diet can have massive impacts. For instance, reducing processed meat intake by just 20 grams daily, about a slice of cold cuts, could significantly lower diabetes risk. The same logic applies to sugary drinks and trans fats. And this is the part that sparks debate. Should governments mandate stricter bans on these ingredients, or is it up to individuals to make better choices? The World Health Organization, WHO, is already taking action, pushing for trans fat bans and soda taxes. But critics argue these measures target symptoms, not root causes. Should we instead focus on educating people about hidden additives in healthy packaged foods? Or is it time to rethink how we define processed in the first place? We want to hear your thoughts. Comment below and let us know if you agree with these public health recommendations or if you see a middle ground. In the end, the message is clear. Even small, habitual choices matter. With millions of lives affected by diabetes, heart disease, and cancer, the stakes are nothing short of global. The study's authors, including experts like Wang Longo, stress that these findings aren't about fearmongering. They're about empowerment. By understanding the risks, we can make smarter, more informed decisions. And if you believe in keeping science journalism independent, consider supporting platforms like Science X Network. Your contribution helps ensure stories like this keep coming. For more details, dive into the full study in Nature Medicine, DOI 10.1038/S41591-025-03775-8, or explore the latest updates on ultra-processed foods and health, DOI 10.1038/S41591-025-03782-9. Stay curious, stay informed, and here's to your health. 2. No safe level of processed meat? Shocking new health risks revealed. Imagine biting into your favorite bacon sandwich, only to realize that there's no such thing as a safe amount of processed meat. That's the startling reality revealed by a massive new study that should make us all pause before reaching for that next hot dog or sausage. But here's where it gets controversial. Researchers from the University of Washington in Seattle have pored over 70 previous studies, analyzing the links between ultra-processed foods and some of the most common health issues plaguing modern society: type 2 diabetes, ischemic heart disease, and colorectal cancer. Among processed meats, sugar-sweetened beverages, and trans fatty acids, it was the processed meats that emerged as the clear culprit, even in small quantities. Processed meats include bacon, ham, hot dogs, sausages, corned beef, salami, canned meat, and jerky, all foods that have been chemically preserved, salted, cured, fermented, or smoked to enhance flavor and extend shelf life. The study, published in Nature Medicine, suggests that habitual consumption of even small amounts of processed meat, sugary drinks, and trans fatty acids is linked to increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes, ischemic heart disease, and colorectal cancer. For instance, the equivalent of one hot dog per day was associated with at least an 11% greater risk of type 2 diabetes and a 7% greater risk of colorectal cancer compared to consuming no processed meats. And for every additional can of sugary soda consumed daily, there's an 8% increased risk of type 2 diabetes and a 2% increased risk of ischemic heart disease. While the study has its limitations and doesn't prove direct cause and effect, its sheer scale and conservative approach make it a compelling argument for reconsidering our diets. The researchers themselves emphasize the importance of reducing ultra-processed food consumption for better health. But here's the part most people miss. This isn't just about avoiding unhealthy foods. It's about understanding the true cost of our convenience foods. So what do you think? Is it time to cut back on processed meats? Or do you think the evidence is still too controversial? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, this information provides critical data for public health specialists and policymakers responsible for dietary guidelines and potential initiatives that aim to reduce the consumption of these processed foods. Let's use this knowledge to make healthier choices and advocate for better food policies. This bold new study adds to the growing body of evidence that what we eat has profound effects on our health. It's time to take this information seriously and make informed choices about what we put on our plates. 3. No safe amount. Processed meats shocking health risks revealed, new study. Imagine this. Consuming processed meat is not as innocent as it may seem. Recent research has concluded that there is essentially no safe level of processed meat consumption that can be deemed harmless. Nutrition experts are amplifying this alarming finding as they delve into a new study that uncovers the unsettling link between processed meats and a host of serious health ailments, including cancer, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Surprisingly, high consumption levels of sugar-laden drinks and trans fatty acids also pose significant health risks. The research team scrutinized evidence from over 60 prior studies, focusing on the interplay between dietary choices, particularly processed meats, sugary beverages, and trans fatty acids, and the likelihood of developing serious conditions such as type 2 diabetes, colorectal cancer, and ischemic heart disease, which restricts blood flow to the heart and can deprive it of essential oxygen and nutrients. The findings were published on Monday in the prestigious journal, Nature Medicine. According to Dr. Demois Hiley, the lead researcher and a scientist at the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation in Seattle, their analysis revealed that even minimal intake of processed meats, sugary drinks, and trans fatty acids significantly correlates with an increased likelihood of developing type 2 diabetes, ischemic heart disease, and colorectal cancer. The data unveiled that individuals who consumed just one hot dog daily faced an 11% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes and a 7% increased risk of colorectal cancer compared to those who completely avoided processed meats. Moreover, ingesting a 12-ounce soda daily was associated with an 8% rise in the risk of type 2 diabetes and a 2% increase in the risk of ischemic heart disease. Dr. Nita Faruhi, who specializes in nutritional epidemiology at the University of Cambridge in the UK and did not partake in this study, stated that this latest research reaffirms previous findings. To improve health outcomes, it's advisable to fully eliminate or, at the very least, significantly reduce the regular consumption of processed meats, sugary beverages, and industrially produced trans fatty acids. What makes these findings particularly compelling is that the risk continues to rise with higher consumption levels. Dr. Faruhi emphasized that there is truly no safe amount of processed meat when one examines the data closely. Initially, the uptick in risk percentage may appear minimal, leading some to question the strength of the association, as noted by Dr. Mingyang Song, an associate professor at Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health, who was not involved in the study. However, when scrutinizing the extensive data, he pointed out that the findings were not only consistent but also compelling, showing that even at lower consumption levels, the likelihood of health issues remained significant. The team employed a modern burden of proof method in their analysis, a cutting-edge approach in meta-analysis that not only aggregates data across various studies, but also evaluates the quality of each study involved. While this method tends to yield conservative results, it highlights serious health implications. It's crucial to recognize that the studies examined were primarily observational, indicating that while there's a correlation between dietary habits and diseases, causation cannot be definitively established. Many of these studies relied on individuals recalling their eating habits, which can introduce inaccuracies, as noted by Dr. Gunter Kuhnle, a professor of nutrition and food science at the University of Reading. The reasons behind the correlation between processed foods and health issues are multifaceted. For instance, both processed meats and sugary drinks can enhance inflammation within the body, a risk factor involved in numerous chronic diseases. Additionally, processed meats often contain nitrites, which can transform into cancer-causing compounds in the stomach. Sugary beverages are particularly problematic as they enable swift consumption of vast quantities of sugar. This rapid influx can lead to weight gain and impact metabolic processes that increase the risk of both heart disease and diabetes. Furthermore, trans fatty acids are known to lower beneficial cholesterol while raising harmful levels, contributing to artery plaque development and heart disease. It's also important to consider that individuals who tend to consume high amounts of processed meats, sugary drinks, and trans fats often face greater health risks due to other lifestyle factors like smoking and inadequate physical activity, alongside social determinants such as education, income, chronic stress, and limited healthcare access, which complicates this issue. So, what dietary practices should we adopt or avoid? Although the study can't definitively claim that cutting back on these foods will directly lower disease risk, it strongly suggests that doing so is a prudent action. Adopting a well-rounded and balanced diet, while resisting excess seems to be a sensible strategy, according to Dr. Coonley. For those who frequently indulge in sugary drinks, it's wise to lessen their intake, while also moderating processed meat consumption and avoiding artificial trans fats whenever possible. Striving for dietary perfection isn't the goal. Instead, focus on cultivating a healthy eating pattern that also allows for enjoyment. Dr. Coonley advises, nourishing our bodies goes beyond just avoiding harmful items. Dr. Faruhi reminds us that incorporating beneficial nutrients is equally crucial. Studies have shown that healthier dietary patterns rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and fermented dairy products like yogurt contribute to better health and longevity. In light of this research, remember not to panic. Dr. Coonley adds thoughtfully, food transcends mere nutritional value. It is woven into the fabric of our culture, pleasure, family interactions, and social connections. Reducing food to a mere list of risks overlooks its broader significance in our lives. Curious about how to enhance your eating habits for better health? Sign up for CNN's Eat But Better, Mediterranean Style, which is a comprehensive 8-part guide designed to help you adopt a delicious and expert-approved lifestyle that promotes lifelong health.